And the only reason I agree with that is because if we get Ben Johnson, we're assuming that we're going to be a much more successful team, which then would relay the idea that Poles is doing his job well. Like, that makes sense. It's like a very obvious answer. So I do think that if Ben Johnson does come, or if he does bring in Vrabel, let's say, and we just look good, I think next year is that year, though. I'd be surprised if he's fired Monday. I'd be genuinely shocked if Monday comes around and he's let go and we kind of like restart the whole process. Because if we don't have Ben Johnson confirmed, then that means we're going like McCaskey hunting and like they're going to find their person. So then I don't know. It becomes a weird little area, but I do think that I don't think he'll be fired next week.
I actually want to totally backtrack. I think this win actually does mean a lot. I know it may not hide everything, but the Bears fought today. That's one thing. The Bears players, I mean, even Thomas Brown, happy for him. Beating Green Bay when they did have something to play for, and perhaps having a backup quarterback, fogs it a little bit. But I think Ryan Poles, if it would have been a blowout, like Green Bay just blows them out, then like, again, how could we say that doesn't mean anything, right? Because what are the McCaskies? What is one of the biggest things they hold on to? It's beating Green Bay. We saw it with Matt Nagy, who couldn't do it. Matt Eberflus wasn't able to do it. Today, I think like I said, I have to backtrack here. I think this does mean something. Whether it's meaningful, I don't know the
level,
the level, the value of it, but it does mean something, because if you get blown out, it's the same thing. It would be a lot easier to be like, okay, nothing has gone right this season. You get blown out, you're 0-6 in the division. It's just this one right here. It's not a statement, but it makes you feel good. And Ryan Poles, I think it was already 50-50. I think we talked about it a couple pods ago about where does he stand? Like, what's happening, right? And I thought it was 50-50 whether he stays and goes. Could this one lean a little bit more to that 55-60%? I think that's definitely possible. And then, if they can land Ben Johnson with Poles, if Poles can sell it, it's just weird because they have to make a decision soon, right? You cannot have him doing interviews. I just don't think that's like realistic, right? Am I crazy?
No, I think that's fair.
Because if you hire another coach before the GM, it's just weird.
Yeah, you can't do that. That's what they did with the last coach. That does not do that.
So they have to have a decision here within the next week or two. Not even 2 weeks. I would say in the next week.
I think they got to know like Monday, bro, because they can start depending on the game tonight, right? If
That's
the Lions
really
win,
quick turnaround,
if the Lions win, you can start interviewing Ben Johnson virtually, literally Monday on their week off because they'll get the bye. So it's like, again, you want to get ahead of this as soon as possible. Also, though, if it's coming down to now to make the decision on whether you keep Poles or not, you've had plenty. Nothing has happened in the season that's technically like tied to Poles like in the last 4 weeks. The trade deadline's over. You didn't pick up any pieces, right? You have enough of the data, historical evidence of what Poles has done in the past 3 years to make. There's nothing that's happened in the past month that's going to shift it left or right. If you haven't had those conversations already, that's a horribly run business. And the Bears aren't the best at executing things in the correct fashion. So I'm not putting it past them. But if it's coming down to like, the midnight deadline, right, then what are we doing here? You should probably know, and you're hoping that decision was made when Kevin Warren and Ryan Poles came out together in that presser and basically did like their end of season or once they fired Matt Eberflus, right? So we're hoping that word is bond. Because, Dave, I think it is more important. I think you're taking a bigger risk going out there trying to find a new GM. They could be better. Absolutely, could be better. But you have to go then find a new GM, then make sure they're aligned with Ben Johnson, right? There's so many variables that are tied in that you have to get right, and the Bears in the past typically have not gotten those right. So how about let's stick to something that is at least working enough, and then hopefully that can entice like consistency, stability, a strong foundation that you can go pitch to Ben Johnson and say, hey, look, we've got the players here. We just need your help to help get these players to the best of their abilities. So I would recommend going that route. Hopefully you're right. There is an impact on that. Before we move on, though, we do have a super chat here from Ken. $4.99. First off, thank you so much, Ken. Really appreciate it. Said, glad they won. We almost lost to their practice squad. I heard Mike McCarthy might be in the talks now for head coach. Thoughts? I will address this one. I saw there was an article about it, but it said Mike McCarthy was interested, not that the Bears were interested in Mike McCarthy. So let's be real. A lot of coaches are going to be interested in this job because of Caleb Williams and the roster around it. Like this team did not meet expectations, which means they have enough talent. And so, let's see if the Bears, they might interview him, but he's not at the top of the list. And then just to go back to your comment here, Ken, there was a report that came out. Again, there's a lot of these reports, they're valid, but they're just the agent feeding information from CBS Sports that said the 2 head coach candidates that the Bears are focused on. The first one we all love, Ben Johnson. The second one, sorry, Jack, Mike Vrabel. So there is that.
Hey, real quick though, I just want to say thank you for a lot of supers coming in. If you can, you don't have, first of all, always thank you for the super chats. We appreciate it. If you can, and you don't want to give money, you can't, just hit that like button. That's the most easy thing to do. I know there hasn't been a lot of positivity, especially after these post-game shows, but this one's pretty special to end the season. So hit that like button. It does help the algorithm because I feel like we have a lot of people in here, and rightfully so. Wish we could have done this actually a few weeks ago, right? Save the season perhaps. But again, the support's been unreal. I just want to say thank you again. So sorry for interrupting.
No, you're good. You're good. Appreciate it. Also, in the chat, let's get some FGBs in the chat. I want to see everybody's FGB in that because fuck Green Bay. Jalen Johnson agrees. Let's see those FGBs in the chat. So appreciate it. And then your imagination here on YouTube with a $3 super chat. Thank you so much. Said great job. To think we almost beat them twice
should have beat them twice.
Field goals. Crazy. Fun fact here before we move on. But in the past 15 years, the Bears have beat the Packers by a combined amount of how many points? Would you say, I'll give you 2 options so you guys don't have to guess the number. Would you say under 20 points or over 20 points is the combined margin of win?
Under.
Counting today.
Under.
You guys
I think
close.
It's 19.
I made it hard. No, it's 27 now. It was 24.
I don't believe the way you just said that. I don't even know if I believe you.
That did not sound
I did this.
What is it?
I tweeted it earlier. I did the research, but still, like, that's not good. So to go back to our previous point about like getting a win in any way, fashion, like this is an impactful game. Dave, I kind of now agree with you on your backtrack that like this does mean something. Whether you beat them by 3 or 30, history has shown the past 2 decades you haven't done it enough. So. Let's see here. We do got some. I want to give shouts to FGBs in the chat. We got Phil with the FGB. Love that. We got Gerald here, our Nick. We're gonna call you that if you're cool with that. FBG, little switch there. And then we got Philip again with a fuck Green Bay. We got Kyler Villagomez with the FGB. We got KDJ with the FGB. Plastic Rockets, the OG with the FGB. Domain Expansion with the FGB and all the shit turds. We love that. JG with the FGB. And then let's see. We got Segor here with the FGB, and then we got Ethan
There's a lot
with the FGB. Love is mid as fuck. And then Mr. James with the FGB as well. So we do appreciate that. Also,